So today I'm going to be showing off some Simpsons items that I've been picking up over the past few months. There are a couple of things that I've had for a few years, including these games here. The majority of this is from the 90s, which is the decade that I basically grew up in, and I consider the best decade of all time. I'm just going to put it out there. I think it is. It was just such a cool time to grow up in. And one of the things that made it very cool was The Simpsons, for me anyway. So for my teenage years, Dragon Ball Z was basically the thing that took over my life. And my entire childhood was The Simpsons. I loved everything to do with The Simpsons. I bought the comics, any sort of books, special books that came out, I'd buy them. I remember being very young and having an argument with my mum and running away from home down the track. And it would occur to me that if I didn't return home, I would miss out on an episode of The Simpsons. So I just had to go home again and I wouldn't be able to run away. Everything about it was just perfect. And being an adult now and rewatching the episodes, which I watched multiple times growing up, there's still jokes coming out that I suddenly get now as an adult that just flew right over my head as a kid. And that's the genius of those episodes, those first 10 seasons. And I do plan on making a video, and I am sort of doing some research into this by watching Simpsons episodes. My favourite episode of each season from season 1 to 10. So yeah, keep an eye out for that if you're interested. So I'll go through the couple of things that aren't from the 90s first, that I just picked up really cheap because they were there. And the first are these mugs here from my local supermarket. They were just going for a couple of dollars each, so I got the last two. And the Simpsons Scenic game. So this game is from 2009 and it's actually a really good game. I got this from a thrift shop for $5 and it's pretty new. So yeah, I wouldn't have bought it otherwise because it's more recent, I guess. But it's actually a really good game. The questions are quite difficult if you're not a huge Simpsons fan, and I reckon I'm a pretty big fan, and I found some of these questions pretty hard. Those are the most modern items I've got, and these games here I've had for a few years, part of my large Mega Drive collection. And so we've got Krusty's Super Fun House, The Simpsons Bart's Nightmare, and the very classic arcade game, The Simpsons Bart vs. the Space Mutants. This used to be its own arcade game in arcade stores in the very early 90s. And yeah, very cool game to have. And next up we've got a couple more board games, including this one, The Simpsons Mystery of Life board game. And I've done an unboxing of this, so check it out. It's on my channel. And yeah, I got this pretty cheap and it's just so cool to have up on display. And of course, I've got The Simpsons 3D Chess here. And both of these board games were released within the first couple of years of The Simpsons. So 1990. The Mystery of Life game was 91. So really old. And speaking of really old, we've got some Simpsons VHS tapes. And these are all from the first and second season. There's a couple of episodes from the second season as well. But yeah, the very old, when Homer talks like this, very old episodes. And I just like the cover art on these. So you got Life in the Fast Lane, Moaning Lisa, and the Simpsons Christmas Special VHS tape. And my favorite cover is Bart the General. I just think that looks very cool. And another thing I've got is the Bart Simpson talking alarm clock, which I've done an unboxing on previously, and it still works. It sounds a bit funny, but it's very cool to have. I got this for $15, so. And apparently a lot of people had this alarm clock when they were a kid. I never did. But yeah, another very old one from 1991. And I found these and the plastics coming apart and getting a bit funky. But these are some playing cards. And I might actually take the plastic off because they seem to be wrecking the cardboard on it. These are very hard to find. I've seen some of these packs go for quite a lot of money. And I got this for like $15, I think. And yeah, another 1991 release. Very cool. Moving along, I will go quickly through my Simpsons card collection. I've got all sorts of cards here. So the first lot, these are actually stickers of the original Simpsons shorts from 1989. These stickers were released in 1990, and I believe they sort of coincided with the first season of The Simpsons, and they were released. And they might be released, I think these were released in Italy. Very neat to have. So these are Skybox cards. I think these are the first series, and I've got both series, both base sets of the Skybox series, and I've got the Skybox Wiggle cards here. And there's also some stickers that came with another card collection, which I've also got, and I'll show you in a sec. And I remember these stickers very well. I remember having these stuck on my drawers. And these are the cards that the stickers came with. So these are also very common. You can find them at a pretty good price for the entire set on eBay if you're interested. And my favorite set are these ones from Tempo, and they are the Bart vs Australia collectible cards. And it goes through basically the entire episode of Bart vs Australia, and it shows some of the funniest jokes from that episode. One of my favorite episodes. I've lived in Australia for over a decade now, and this episode just gets funnier and funnier. It's even more funny that some politicians and stuff absolutely hated this episode at the time and were outspoken about it, and that just made it even better. And then finally we've got some more cards, Simpsons Mania cards. So we've got a bunch of those, and the Skybox Series 2 cards as well. And now I've got a bunch of magazines, which are probably my favourite out of all of this. And first up, we've got a Rolling Stone magazine with Bart on the front cover, and this was from 1991, so pretty much when The Simpsons first came out. And I really like that old style of artwork from that first season. I don't know what it is. I just have such good memories of that time and watching The Simpsons. And now I've got this consumer guide, Simpsons Mania. I guess it's a merchandise magazine, but it's also got a lot of cool things like interviews and character bios and merchandise, like pages of merchandise that you could pick up at the time. And a review to Bart vs. the Space Mutants. We've got a Sega Pro magazine here, which has its own review of the game. And it gave it a pretty good score of 92 out of 100. So there you go. Good game, apparently. I've played it, and yeah, it's pretty old. It's an old game. And these are my favorite magazines that I've just started collecting, and they're called Simpsons Illustrated, and it's just a bunch of like news and crosswords and little comics inside, posters, like some trivia, and just some really cool, funny stuff. It's got the cool new handshakes, and I love this one between Apu and Mo, like the Harpo. It's so ridiculous. It's so good. In each issue of these magazines, you get some comic strips, and one of them is very early Hey Arnold comic strips, and they're in each magazine. And the creator of Hey Arnold, I guess it's Craig Bartlett, he was, or is, Matt Groening's brother-in-law. I don't know if he still is, but yeah, and so he obviously got his own little segment in here with an Arnold comic strip. It's pre the cartoon, and there's nothing really familiar apart from the character design and name. But yeah, it's not at all like the Hey Arnold we saw on the TV, but it's very cool and interesting to see these so early on. Very, very cool magazines. So yeah, that's what I've pretty much picked up over the past few months. I don't plan on building a huge collection. I just really want to focus on like very old Simpsons items like these and the VHS tapes and magazines. So, and you know, it'll probably snowball from there. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. Hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye.